Hello viewers, here is a very sad Duracraft box fan. This is model DB100, and we've already done the initial checkout on this. If you want to see it run more in depth, go take a look at that video, but just for comparison purposes I'll go ahead and start it up. And you'll see that it just doesn't really work. Makes a bad sound, hardly moves any air. So this needs a lot of help. So let's go ahead and get this opened up and let's see what we can do. Looks like there's just 3 screws here on the back. They're long screws, jeez. And this one up the top is broken. Unfortunately, that is a common, well, it's common, I've seen it before. An issue with these fans, actually you can see it pretty good here. The little studs that the screws go into are plastic and they end up breaking if the fan experiences any kind of a fall or anything. So unfortunately that's the case again here. Now you can see better what we're talking about right here. This piece should be on the back guard, and we'll fix that. I believe we'll be able to hot glue it back together. For now, let's just see if I can get the thing undone. Okay, there we go. So we'll just have to glue this piece back on to the other side here. You can see where it broke off right here, and it just would go back on like that. So that's annoying, but it's a fairly easy fix. Quite a bit of dust in there. I think this we can just clean off. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because I've never had good results getting the blades off of these things. Those are really stiff bearings. I'm kind of surprised I've never seen these lock up like this. It's got one of these stupid things on there. I hate these things so much. Really, the only way that I know of to get them off is to just kind of damage the clip. Which, in all honesty, is fine with me, because I don't want a stupid planned obsolescence clip on my equipment anyways. So, let's go ahead and remove this. Okay, this one is not cooperating. It's actually bending my screwdriver. Oh, brother. Jeez. Well, that's why you don't use tools for other things than their intended purpose, because it usually doesn't work. Well, let's try another tool that's not intended for this. That should be a little bit stronger. Okay, looks like this will maybe this will break through here. Okay, that kind of broke. Needed to break some more though. There we go. Now I'm just going to get the rest of this stupid thing off. Okay, so now that that's off, hopefully we can just pull the motor, the blade off the motor. still have my doubts about that, but yeah, it doesn't want to come at all. And I'm afraid the bearings are going to disintegrate, or some weird thing is going to happen if I use too much force. Oh, now it's coming. Okay. Blade is off. And here's the motor. Well, that's interesting. It is labeled Honeywell. Yet it's inside a Duracraft fan. Okay, let's get this out of here. Don't need this gigantic bit on the thing anymore. Now that bit doesn't work. I don't even know why I have that one in the box there. More long screws. Okay. And now, would you look at this? We have removable connections. Well, they're soldered on. Not quite removable, but they would be in theory removable. In this case, what I'll do is we'll just feed the wire all the way through for the washing portion, and that will be fine. But this is, aside from the blade thing, this is fairly user serviceable. Let's see if we can get that switch out of there. Ouch. Not good. Alright, well, I take back my comments about the motor being user serviceable, because the back bearing doesn't have an opening for oil. So the motor will have to be stripped apart to be cleaned. I mean, to be oiled. But that's fine, we can do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is get everything washed off so that it can dry while we're working on the other components. Alright, I got the glue gun going, that's warming up, and the rest of the parts are drying, as you saw a few seconds ago. So now let's get into the motor. And this is going to take a little bit of time because this motor needs a fair bit of attention. So we're going to begin by removing the bearings. The rear bearing is sealed, so it's going to be a little more difficult to clean it out. And actually it appears to be kind of stuck onto the... there it goes. So for this motor, I'm just going to go ahead and brush this off just to get the excess dust off of here. And yes, this toothbrush is in fact hot glued together. This is a low budget studio here. Alright, that's good enough. But really the only thing that matters here is that it's not accumulating to the point where it's going to block heat dissipation. So that's fine. I'll set that aside for the moment. and we're just going to focus on the bearings. So the shaft has a very sticky substance on it. I would imagine that's dried up or solidified lubricant. So we're going to want to clean that off before we go any further. I've got a ticker towel out here. There we go. And I'm going to use the black can of 3-in-1 to clean this off. This is one of the acceptable uses of the black can. I'm just going to clean off this shaft here so that we'll be able to slide off the front bearing. And you can see the shaft is very clean now. The black 3-in-1 detergent oil is a very effective cleaner. Now we have an issue here at the end of the shaft. I don't know if this will pick up on the video or not. On blur. Right there's a nick in the shaft, and that's going to prevent the bearings from coming off. So if I can find where my files are, I just rearranged some things here and I can't find anything anymore. Where did they go? Oh man. Maybe I put them somewhere else. There they are, sitting in plain sight. Alright, so what we're going to do here is take this, and right where that nick is, I'm just going to gently file it down. And you can use sandpaper for this as well. Very fine sandpaper. I just happen to like the sticks because they're easier to work with. So let's see if it wants to come off now. It's still sticking. So we're going to do a little bit more. You don't want to force it because you'll end up ruining the bearing. Or maybe not thoroughly ruining it, but doing some damage. You don't want to score the inside surface of the bearing. This would be a lot easier to do if the motor was running, but it's not, so whatever. Still doesn't want to come. We may have to just put it together and do it that way because this is taking too long. I don't feel anything anymore. Alright, you know what? We're putting it back together and we're going to clean it off a different way that I know works. This is taking too long here. I'm going to put the motor back together and screw the bearings on. Okay, that should be enough to get it spinning. I'm going to switch it on. Plug it in. There we go. And what we're going to do here is just put the filing stick on here like this. Okay. Let's see if that was enough to do what we want to do. Oh, come on. I can't even force it past it if I wanted to. What is the problem here? Alright, well, we'll just keep shaving it then, and eventually it's going to have to come off. Okay, that was a pain in the rear to get that off. Very, very stubborn. I'm not sure what the problem was. But it's off now, so now we can finally proceed with the bearing cleaning process. Alright, so that's all clean now. We're going to take the blue 3-in-1 oil and we're going to apply the oil. Start with the rear bearing. I'm just going to put a whole bunch of drops in here because it doesn't have the potential to leak anywhere. I'll let that absorb into the wicking a little bit. Oh, okay, I guess that was too much. I can't get this shaft in there now. Alright, let's put some of that oil in the front bearing instead. Okay, that's in. And that is spinning freely. So we'll put that back through the motor. And now we'll put some oil on the shaft here. Some oil inside the bearing, and we'll slide this front bearing back on. Just still getting a little bit stuck there. I can't explain what's going on there. Okay, and let's put the screws back in. give it a couple of aligning taps. Alright, that should be ready to go. So, let's see, what do we have left to do? We have to fix this. That I believe is broken with front guard. Yeah, it is. So let's get the motor back into the fan here. It's still slightly damp in there, but these are supposed to be water resistant anyways, so I don't think it'll be an issue. Are these screws all the same? I think so. Maybe my screwdriver's just running out of charge. Okay, and we'll feed these wires back through a little canal here. Spinning pretty freely. Okay, here's the front guard, and this is where the damage is. And this piece should be sitting on here kind of like that. So hot glue should be ready. Ah, the stick is running out. I gotta change that out before we continue. I don't really want this stringy glue stuff in here at all. Alright, well this is literally gameplay of watching glue dry, so I'm gonna cut this part out. Okay, while that's drying, Let's put the switch back in place. Hopefully that's going to be aligning with, yep, that's in there correctly. And we'll put the blade back on. Actually, before I put the blade back on, I want to make sure there's some lubricant on the shaft here, because this was very difficult to get off. And I don't want it to be like that again next time we have to do a service on this. That's much better. And now I noticed the blade went on super easy. I wonder if this one was going to be too easy now. Is this going to come off again? No, I think it should be okay. Alright, let's power this up just to give it a quick test to make sure it's working the way it should be. High. Low. Yep, that seems to be working pretty good now. Certainly much better than it was before. Let's see, where is this thing at here? Well, admittedly, that doesn't feel very sturdy at all. Although I think, hopefully that works. I'm not super confident in that repair, but it's not a criticality, I don't think. Okay, let's get these screws back in. I'm going to tighten these by hand because I'm concerned about the things breaking in there. And why did this one go in so much easier than the other one? You know what, they are ever so slightly different. This one's a little bit thicker. That's probably the one that holds the motor on. Oh well, whatever. Close enough that I'm not concerned about it. Okay, I guess we're doing it by hand. That thing is great, but when it's not charged up, it's really not that helpful. And here we go with this one. Let's see if it breaks. It's gonna break, I think. Yeah, it just broke. It's like halfway broken. And it just came all the way off. Well, that's a fail. Can we go without it? Nope, can't go without it either. Alright, back in we go. I think that'll do it. I had to cut the top off because it was hitting the blade. So I'm going to let that dry. And if that doesn't work, I don't think anything will. Alright, we're going to attempt the reassembly again. And we have success. Maybe you could go a little bit tighter. I'm probably pushing my luck at this point. Alright. There's the final product. Got a couple of black specks on it here and there. I'm not really sure what those are. They kind of scrape off, so I'll have to deal with that later off camera, but let's give it a test. Sounds a lot better now, and it's actually moving air.